Welcome to another exciting episode of Purana Talk with Leon Allen. We're enjoying the Garuda Purana. We're in the second skanda. We're at chapter 12.
Importance of Dharma. The Lord said, and in this case being Vishnu, sometimes referred to as Krishna, O Garuda, which if you're just joining us is the name of the bird god, eagle type vahana or vehicle, kind of totemic mount of Vishnu. Garuda. O Garuda, I have explained to you the various proclivities of life for the benefit of men and to ward off the stalemate in which the dead may find themselves. There are 8,400,000 species of creatures divided into four main classes. They are Undajas, literally unda, egg, ja, born of, egg-born. Sounds like a name. Undajas, born of egg. Svedajas, born of sweat, as it is thought that bugs are. Whose sweat is my question. 3. That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah, good question.
Like people's sweat? 3. Udbijas, born of seeds. Bij. Udbijas. And Jarayujas, the viviparous. Isn't that nice? They've put in a word. That means nothing to most people. Being one of those majority. I think I've known this. Okay, so we've got born of egg, born of sweat, born of seed, and born of Jarayu.
Sweat, seed, and the mystery one, and then egg.
Maybe it's womb. I don't know. Womb doesn't seem to be there. Born of egg, unless.
Well, born of egg was where we
that
started
could be human,
from, right?
I guess. Yeah.
Born of egg is 1.
Yeah. Sweat, 2, 3 seeds, 4 viviparous. All right. Look it up. I don't know. Yeah, look it up. 3.
Spell viviparous or whatever it is.
Vivi. V-I-V-I. Parous. P-A-R-O-U-S. 3, 4. The Undajas are of 2,100,000 varieties.
Oh.
Don't worry, they're not going to name them all.
You sure?
Similarly, the Svedajas, Udbijas, and the Jarayujas, in the last of which are included human beings, that's why I was thinking might be born of womb, are also enumerated. It is very difficult for the lower animals to get manhood, humanhood. The receptacle of the set of 5 sense organs can be acquired through great merits. Mankind is divided into 4 varnas, brahmins, kshatriyas, vaishyas, shudras, and also antyajas, born of the back, the bottom, the lowest class. The antyajas are divided into 7 groups: washermen, cobblers, actors, varudas, kaivartas, bhedas, and bhillas. And most of those I don't know what they are, but bhillas I know are a tribal community. They're like indigenous. Adding the mlechas and the dumbas, there are 13 groups of people. The species of lower strata of animals are thousands. Taking food, we're at 8. Indulging in sexual intercourse, sleeping, fearing, and becoming angry. These are found in all living beings. Here the distinction is impossible. Bodies are of 10 varieties in view of the divisions such as single-footed, etc. Where the deer Krishnasara is found in plenty, that region is called Dharma Desha, the land of virtue. There's a footnote. Krishnasara is a spotted antelope.
And single-footed, where does that show up?
Single-footed, etc. in 9. Same place, same as the deer variety, which it says is an antelope. Where that is found in plenty as a land of virtue. Over the deities, Brahma and others are the sages and the Pitris. Virtue, truthfulness, and learning are always present in that land of virtue. Among living beings, the animals are the best. Among the animals, the intelligent are the best. Among the intelligent, men are the best. And among men, the Brahmins are the best. Among the Brahmins, the scholars. Among the scholars, those who cultivate Vedic studies. Among those who act according to the injunction, and among them, the Brahmavadins are the best. And those are those who discuss and deliberate on Vedic topics, essentially devote their entire lives to the propagation and discussion of the spiritual texts. So there's the top, the pinnacle right there, the Brahmavadins.
Oh boy.
One is guilty of self-deception who does not strive to gain either heaven or salvation after being born as a man, whereby he could gain either.
That's a guilt trip, isn't it? All right.
Well, yes, it's guilt. I said right there. One is guilty of self-deception if, having been incarnated as a human, you don't strive for either heaven or salvation in some form. I mean, you look at me like, okay. All right, 14.
Problematic.
I don't want liberation.
Well, it's a very transcendentalist orientation. It means you can't be happy with the way things are. You've got to be.
You can't.
Oriented
I don't
towards
think that might be salvation.
Salvation crap, and instead of
it might not be crap. It might be. It might be. Jivan Mukti
if
situation.
you don't enjoy going, you're not going to enjoy very much being there when you get there. That's what I think.
Oh. Well, now we know what he thinks.
Well, just saying.
All right. Okay, one is guilty of self-deception who does not strive to gain either heaven or salvation after being born as a man, whereby he could gain either. A man who has 100 silver pieces craves for 1,000. A man who has 1,000 yearns for a lakh. A man who has a lakh wishes to rule over a kingdom. A man who rules over a kingdom pines away to become an emperor. An emperor wishes to become a deva, and on getting godhood, he wishes to be the Lord of Gods. The Lord of Gods wishes to go still further, and still his thirst for power does not recede. Well, that's a little confession on his part, isn't it?
I know.
A person afflicted by covetous thirst falls into hell. Those who are freed of undue thirst secure a residence in heaven. You can have some thirst, just not undue thirst.
Right.
It's the covetous thirst. A man depending upon his own self is sure to be happy.
Well, it's an interesting way to look at it.
The qualities of sound, touch, color, taste, and smell make one dependent on the objects of sense, and hence one is sure to be unhappy.
You can kind of see where that's coming from. Yeah.
18. The deer, the elephant, the moth, the honeybee, and the fish, these 5 are destroyed due to addiction to their 5 sense organs. Now we get a really complicated footnote, and I could see this one coming, because these animals are actually symbolic of the various senses. So,
what verse are we in? 18?
Yeah, we're in 18. So the following table will elucidate the point very clearly. Should I just like shove it up there? And...
Sure. Shove it up
Here,
there.
this table will elucidate very clearly.
Sure it will.
Okay, and now you'll just have to pause it there and squint.
Study.
But I'm just going to run through it briefly. The deer represents the ear and its object. It listens to sweet music and it gets caught by the hunter. It's that sort of thing. The elephant is the sense of touch, and it is caught through the she-elephant. The moth represents the eyes. It is attracted by the color of the flame and is burnt. The honeybee, the nose, attracted by the fragrance of the lotus, it gets caught within it. The fish symbolizes the sense of taste, which is associated with the water element. I suppose we could examine these more closely and see similar things in others. Its end is that it nibbles at the bait because it tastes so yummy and gets caught. Each of the sense organs is destructive. How is it possible that man who uses all the five will escape destruction? There you go. 19. In infancy, one is extremely obsessed with one's parents. In youth, one is obsessed with one's wife. Later in life, one becomes obsessed with one's sons and grandsons. Never is one obsessed with the Atman. So it seems to me we're seeing a series of little sayings, kind of little words, bits of wisdom, proverbial kind of lumps, each of these stanza. It is easy for one bound with iron fetters to wooden pegs to get oneself released, but one bound with the nooses of children and wives is never released.
It's pretty wicked, some of this stuff.
21. It is impossible to escape death, whether one is a fool or a scholar, a child or an old man, young or old and infirm, extremely happy or excessively dejected. He comes and goes. Parenthetically, it says he dies and he's reborn again.
Yeah, no one gets out alive. It's a rule.
22. Man is born alone. Man dies alone. He enjoys his merits by himself. He reaps the bitter fruits of his sins by himself. Ooh.
But he's born a woman, of woman. We're all born of woman.
Yeah, well, you're not.
So you're hardly alone.
Yes.
And, you're being born, when you die, you're being born into the life after death, and that is hardly alone. There's lots of others there.
So apparently they're wrong on that.
Well, I'm not sure about wrong, but I'm pointing out, some things to question.
Have we,
Yeah, it's been doing that. I'm not quite sure why it is.
Yeah.
It's a special big head edition.
This is not big head. This is big head. Okay. Shall we continue?
Let's.
Okay.
We were dealing with obsessions, I think, in 19.
Yeah. No, we went beyond that. We were down to now 23.
Okay.
Even as everyone is watching, one leaves off everything and dies. Casting off the dead body along with logs of wood or clods of earth, the kinsmen turn away from the cremation or burial ground, but the dead man's virtue or evil definitely follows him. His riches recede from him in the house itself, and his kinsmen turn away at the cremation grounds with friends. 26, 27. The fire consumes the body, but the merit and demerit accompany him. The body is burnt by the fire, but the actions perpetrated by him keep his company. Now 28 to 33. Auspicious or otherwise, a man has to experience the fruits of his actions. If before sunset wealth is not distributed among the suppliants, I do not know to whom it will go in the morning that follows. If some wealth is not handed over to Brahmins and friends or spent in holy rites or pilgrimages, the wealth begins to cry, "Who shall be my lord?" Whether plentiful or scanty, whatever wealth one has is due to one's previous merits. Realizing this, one has to spend it away in virtuous rites. It is by wealth that virtue is sustained if the mind is sanctified by faith. A sacred rite devoid of faith is neither fruitful here nor there. It does not flourish. Virtue is the cause of wealth, love, and salvation. Hence one shall be virtuous. It is by faith that virtue is sustained, and not by heaps of riches. Indigent sages endowed with faith have attained heaven. Homas, gifts, penance, and actions without faith are base, O bird, and they are not found fruitful here or in the life after death.
Amen. Because basically, it isn't about stuff. It isn't about collecting stuff. It isn't about collecting anything except being devoted to this source kind of energy and trying to regain your connection with it or something like that. It's like all this transcendental behavior seems to be oriented that way. You're trying to get back to being this primal being. That all this unfoldment has done is gotten you dirty and you want to get clean now. So we're headed back to the source, we're swimming upstream, but we're going back to the source. I'm not so sure about all this transcendental stuff, It's like, to me, it's more about what you do with the life you've got going rather than where you should be getting back to. It's about how you live life now and, what kind of person you're being to the people around you now. Just saying. We all have to make our own choices every minute. So, see you next time.